Hi, welcome everyone to another episode of the Hazard Time Show. I'm your host, Liam, and I'm joined with a guest for the first time on this, although it's only episode, 6 or 7 or whatever. So it's not. Anyway, I'm joined today by Paul Casey from Clock Shelves. I've been a frequent guest on his podcast for a while. Is this your first time on someone else's podcast or show?
I've actually been on something of yours. Thank you, by the way, for having me. Very grateful. I was on something of yours. You and I did. I think it was Back to the Future 2. We discussed for.
Oh
I want to
yeah,
say maybe
that's
it was every movie I've ever seen or something like that. Yeah, we did. We talked about Back to the Future 2.
That's right. I forgot I had guests on that at one point too. Huh. Anyway, that's interesting. Forgot about that. But yeah,
Good
so
to know
what?
I made such an impact. Thanks.
Well, no, I mean, I mean, now that you're saying it, I'm remembering ones that I've done with other people, and I completely forgot about that aspect of that series. Because I'm remembering like, oh yeah, I did one with Dimitri, I did some with Richard and this person, this person. I was like, oh yeah, I just completely forgot about that side of it in general. Because I guess that part of it kind of dropped off a little earlier before the entire series dropped off. But anyway,
Oh, and technically, our just in terms of being a guest on something, our friend Andrew from England, a fellow Losty, he had a show about, well, we would say soccer, but football, because
right.
England, and he had me on an episode there, kind of talking about why it doesn't. This was a few years ago, of course, before it became bigger here in the States, but kind of why the United States never really connected with it. So I got to put on my Professor Paul hat and give like a history lesson as to why. But I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah.
Even though I haven't been a guest on a whole lot of things, I'm very grateful that you invited me on here, and especially excited because just like I will sometimes say to you and other guests, um, I actually don't really know what we're doing here. So I get to be the one who's like kind of on pins and needles going, what are we doing? What are we doing? So
Yeah. And so if anybody doesn't know, this is basically it's like a top 10. We're going to formulate a top 10 list. We're going to talk about, discuss it. And, usually at least one person isn't in on it. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's the guest. I mean, I offered Paul if he had a suggestion to surprise me first, but he said me. And I
because
figured,
because I wasn't quite sure the
yeah.
format, so I figured I'll let you do it, and then maybe if it, maybe next time I'll bring something.
And I figured, uh, for the first one, maybe go easy on you a little bit. Something that I feel like we can talk, something that I'm pretty sure we can talk about. I don't know if we've ever talked about it before. Uh, but the topic for today's is going to be top 10. Are you frozen again?
I can hear you still.
Okay, because you're frozen on the screen, so I don't know. Anyway, if you can hear
I can
me,
hear you still.
okay. Uh, anyway, yeah. Top 10 episodes of Lost.
Ooh, there's 151 hours of
Yeah.
Lost, and we got to do the top 10.
But at
Well, I
least
bet you
it's
know what one won't be included in my list.
you're right. At least it's something that we're both knowledgeable of. And actually, I should have grabbed this first. It's something that we're both going to be knowledgeable of and both going to be able to know. I've actually do have my little complete collection booklet so I can look through stuff.
Okay, okay.
Little handy. So we don't got to
See,
worry.
believe it or not, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Believe it
No,
or
it's
not,
fine.
I've never ranked, in my opinion. Like, I've never necessarily said like this one's like my favorite. I've definitely said my least favorite. That's on record many times. But I've never necessarily said like this is my favorite or whatever, because I don't, unlike I believe you and some of our other friends, I don't necessarily go back and be like, this is my favorite, I'm going to watch this. Like, I watch the show as like a complete thing. I'm not
Right.
just randomly like, I want to watch this episode or that episode. So this will be really interesting.
Yeah. So I would say one thing for the sake of simplicity is we're just gonna include like multiple parters together. So we're not gonna have like pilot part one, pilot part two, especially especially with like some of the later finales. I don't know where part one ends and where part two ends, because I think like the season 4 finale is like 3 parts.
3 parts, yeah.
So I don't know where, but anyway, and we don't got to worry about placement just yet. Get a strong 10 or 12 or 13, and then we whittle it down, and then we can start worrying about placements. But I would think the first thing I would throw out there, think you have to throw out these 2 episodes, pilot and the end. I mean,
to be on the top, like the top list.
yeah, I mean to be somewhere in the top 10 in general.
Yeah.
I mean, those are standards, and I know a lot of people don't like the finale like some people do. We both like the finale,
Of course.
and
I think the people who don't like it don't understand it. I'm not
yeah,
gonna say they're wrong. I just think they don't understand it yet.
I think there is also a big group of people who came back to Lost, like who dropped off from Lost at like around season 3 and came back to it missing a lot of 3, 4, and 5. And like, well, this doesn't make sense. Well, of course it doesn't make sense to you because you don't know what's going on. They traveled back in time while you were gone. But yeah, we got the pilot and the end somewhere.
If I could throw an episode that I think is very important for, and I think it deserves to be sort of in the discussion, is the season 3 finale.
Season 3 finale. That is that's
the Looking Glass.
The Looking Glass. Because I did that little quiz where you tried to guess all the episode. We had to like remember all the episode titles, and I actually missed a good bit. There's a lot of episode titles, and there's really long ones too.
Oh, you mean like the title "All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues"?
Yeah. But Through the Looking Glass, that's a good finale too.
Well, are we okay? So, like you said about time travel, are we assuming that people that watch this have like know the show?
Uh, we'll say like I'm trying to think of a good word for it, a generic spoiler warning. So we might not get too in depth about it, but even if you haven't seen the show, you still probably know some of these things already. It's like someone who hasn't seen the show probably knows there's a polar bear on the island or knows about time travel.
Well, the reason I asked was because, so then I'll just say this. I'm not going to necessarily say what it is, but if you know, you know, and if you don't, go watch and figure it out. The reason that I said Through the Looking Glass, there's so much stuff with major characters. There's the gigantic twist at the end, which I guess technically every finale had like a twist, but I feel like that was probably one of the biggest twists of probably the whole show, really. But if you just look at it like just the production, everything I feel that went into that, it's one of the better episodes of the show for sure.
And it's also one of the episodes that not a whole lot of episodes on Lost get extra benefit rewatching. I think that's one, and Ji Yan is another one that gets that you could, okay, I got to rewatch this now, knowing what I know immediately. I mean, not saying other episodes of Lost aren't rewatchable.
No, but it's like the Sixth Sense sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like when you watch it and then there's like the twist at the end, and then you're like, I have to watch it again for like clues.
Yeah. And the good thing about the season 3 finale is it pays off a little bit more than I feel like Live Together, Die Alone, the season 2 finale.
Right.
Because that kind of cliffhanger ending, I feel like that's something we've talked about. It doesn't really get resolved until a couple seasons later, and not exactly maybe in the way you would think it does. But like they talked about that in season from going in between season 1 and season 2 when they ended on the cliffhanger with the hatch. It's what they said, like, we didn't want to make you wait any longer. So right in the beginning of season 2, we're going to show you, what was in the hatch right there, right in the beginning, and not going to make you wait any longer. Like immediate closure to the
I mean,
to the cliffhanger.
if you're gonna go there, I feel like that season 2 opener is probably, I mean, I don't know, maybe top 10. I might say, I don't know about like top. I know we're doing top 10, but like Through the Looking Glass, I would probably put like maybe in, we'll get there, of course, but probably
Yeah,
top 5. But the opening of season 2 is pretty, I'd
yeah, that's
say
pretty good.
top 10.
I also don't I also don't want our list just to be the season premieres and season finale. But I mean, you could very well do that. But I will say the season 4 premiere, I think that was the weakest of the season openings, in my opinion. I know that's not really our list, but I was just thinking about that, how because you had season 2 opening with Desmond, season 3 opening with Juliet, season 4 opening, it wasn't as much like, wait, what's going on, what's happening here, as the other season openings were.
No, but it makes me laugh because season 4 features the introduction of some of your favorite characters, and
Yeah,
there's the setup to like a bigger kind of twist, and like a bit, I guess, like mystery twist, and who, I'm gonna say this, and if you get it, you get it. If not, whatever. Who planted what where? It sort of sets that up, you
mm.
know. So I'm gonna surprised to hear you say that you don't think it's one of the better openings to a season.
Well, the episode itself has no problems. Just specifically that beginning scene with Jack felt kind of lackluster compared to the other beginning scenes. Because the other beginning scenes really kind of dropped you in there and like, who is this character that we're
No,
seeing?
I have to disagree because we see Jack drinking, but if I'm not mistaken, it opens with him drinking and he's watching the news.
Yeah,
And then the thing that happens then, person going away in handcuffs and saying what they say, I'm one of XYZ. That's a, who's in the car? What does that phrase mean? You
yeah,
know?
yeah. I can see. I just think compared to the other ones, not saying it's bad, but like season 5 had a really great opening, and even
Oh yeah.
season 5 had a great opening. Season 2 had a great opening, and then, I mean, if you wanted to say like 3, 4, and 6 were tied for openings, I would be fine with that too.
I could agree with that.
But I would definitely say 2 and 5 had the best openings, like opening scenes. Maybe not the
Yeah.
best. Uh,
Another one, just not, it's not a season opener because you said, and I agree, they shouldn't all be the
yeah,
season finales or season premieres. Another one, now ironically, our friend Jake continues to say that it's one of the most overrated episodes, but it's almost any time you ask people the best episode or one of the best episodes, The Constant.
yeah. I can I can to some extent understand the overrated comment. I don't think it's overrated, but I also don't think it's like the best episode of Lost either. I think there are other episodes that I would think are better than The Constant. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I could definitely see The Constant being on this list. I wouldn't see it at number 1 or number 2 or number 3, just because I think some episodes do a little better. I think a lot of The
So
Constant is that sort of emotional gut punch you get,
Yes.
which I mean, would the rest of the episode have worked as well if that one scene in particular didn't work? Uh,
You're
but yeah,
just to clarify, you're talking